West. And to take a closer look at just how that's going to play out, we're joined by our international affairs editor, Philip Turle. Philip, first of all, talk us through the purpose of these regional elections and how they're looking.
Okay, well, these are held every 6 years in France, and they're to elect regional councillors who really do play a very important role in the organisation of regions in France for that 6-year term. There are 17 regional councils, reduced from 22 about 10 years ago. Now, none of them is controlled either by the party of Emmanuel Macron, the Republic on the Move party, or by the National Rally of Marine Le Pen. So both are keen to try to recuperate at least some regions. You can see from the map behind me that northern France, southeastern France and part of western France in blue are in the control of the right wing. The red or pink zones are in the control of the left. And the light blue area in northern France is controlled by the centrists. This is how the makeup of the regions was after the last elections in 2015. So this time round, the right wing is trying to keep hold of its regions. 3 leaders there are in a strong position to do that. Xavier Bertrand, Valérie Pécresse and Laurent Wauquiez. But they are being challenged by Marine Le Pen's National Rally, which is leading in 4 regions and in second place in quite a few others. So it is expected that Marine Le Pen will win some regions for the first time in France. Now, what is happening here is that the National Rally of Marine Le Pen usually does better in regional and local elections, but not on a national basis, whereas Emmanuel Macron as the president and his party, LREM, do better on a national basis than locally. It's finding it very difficult to set itself up as a party representing France around the different provinces of the country. So this will be an indication, these upcoming elections on the 20th and the 27th of June, as to what people are likely to vote next time round in a year. And what we're seeing in the opinion polls is that probably there is going to be the same duel in the presidential elections, that's to say Marine Le Pen opposite Emmanuel Macron, just as it was back in 2017, because 67% of French people believe there will be a poll victory for both of those 2 candidates who will make it through to the second round of voting next year. But believe it or not, 70% of French people say they do not favour a second round runoff between Marine Le Pen and Emmanuel Macron next year. Basically, that's because on the left and on the right, the traditional parties are in such disarray and there's such infighting. There are no strong candidates to put up a sizable fight to either Marine Le Pen or Emmanuel Macron. And that is probably going to play out, I think, during these regional elections coming up later this month.
Right. So given all of that, how do you think it will play out both regionally and then long-term looking at next year for the president?
Well, I suppose the question everybody wants to know, Jeannie, is will Marine Le Pen win the elections next year and become president of France? Well, as things stand at the moment, that is looking unlikely. The latest opinion polls give Emmanuel Macron 54% and Marine Le Pen 46%. That is certainly more for Marine Le Pen than in 2017 when she only got 34% of the vote. But it appears that there is going to be probably what they call Republican front created by the more traditional parties who will come together after the first round of voting next year to join forces to call on their voters not to support Marine Le Pen and the National Rally to prevent her from getting into the Élysée Palace. That is probably going to happen, but that Republican front is also weakened now because Marine Le Pen is a much more bona fide accepted party leader than her father, Jean-Marie Le Pen, and so many people are willing to vote for her, whereas before they would never have voted for Jean-Marie Le Pen's National Front, which was seen as a racist movement. So it looks like she's probably going to come in second place, but we're still a year away from the election result. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this election later this month, the regional election, the last election in France before the presidentials next year, turns out. And just one final thing is that we're expecting a record abstention rate, could be between 75% and 80%, which is not going to help things either.